for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. CF Montreal Talk.
Here's the chance. They've got the goal. Absolutely incredible. Cameron Porter the goal to send Montreal Impact into the CONCACAF Champions League semi-final.
The sickest CF Montreal podcast. Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. Playground, your premier gaming destination. Complete Striker. And Innov Sport.
Collaborer avec Innov Sport, une compagnie d'ici afin de dynamiser l'apprentissage et la pratique du sport pour tous et partout.
Les différents produits permettent de rester actif tout en développant sa confiance, son autonomie et sa technique. Des produits efficaces, progressifs et personnalisés avec le logo de votre école.
Innov Sport, pour tous et partout.
It's gonna be sick.
Good afternoon on this Monday, April 29. Is it a couple of minutes past 1 o'clock in the afternoon? I am Tony Marinaro. This is the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk, as we will be talking CF Montreal. And as usual, on Mondays, I'm joined by former Montreal Impact player Patrice Bernier, who's an ambassador for the club. And of course, you see him on RDS as an analyst. And the Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group. It's brought to you in part by Playground. It's brought to you in part by Patrice Bernier's Innov Sport. And it's brought to you in part by Ali Gerba's Complete Striker. Ali, unfortunately, cannot be with us today. There was a charity fundraiser yesterday, a game of futsal. Patrice Bernier et ses amis at the Collège Montmorency in the gym. And rumor has it that Ali has taken the day off from Complete Striker, and he is in a cold bath right now. He's getting massaged. He's getting therapy. He's getting treatment. And he's going to finish it off with a cigar in his spa. Without further ado, I bring in the most popular man in all of Montreal, and especially Laval yesterday afternoon, Patrice Bernier himself. Pat, how are you?
Hey, thanks, Tony. Thanks again. Thanks for yesterday. It was a great event. And happy to go back to chatting and seeing everybody. Hello to everybody that's listening.
Pat, for me, it's me that thanks you ever since you've had this fantastic event, which you can talk about in 2 seconds, where you're trying to raise proceeds for who exactly. You've had me involved. You've asked me to be a player. I know you know a lot of people, and I know you could have definitely gone without asking me. So for me, it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure, and I thank you very much for making me be a part of it. It's always a great time. You get out and actually see people in that locker room that you haven't seen in a while. It's hard to gather that many people together at the same time. You get to go out and see people in the public who come up to you, who either listen to you on the radio or watch you on television, shake hands, put a face to a name. It's always fun in that respect as well. We get to meet great people who support the event financially, corporate sponsors. I got to meet the people behind Jamil Jewelry yesterday, who actually sponsored the team that I was playing on. So it was a lot of fun. And Pat, I think it was most fitting that the best player on the day was Patrice Bernier, and the winning team on the day was Patrice Bernier's team, who won in the final in overtime. It took, and didn't happen if Patrice Bernier didn't score a huge goal to break a 4-4 tie, or to tie the game at 4 with about a minute and a half left in the game to force an overtime. So very fitting ending, Pat. Who you're raising money for, Pat, and have you able to come up with the amount that this event may have raised?
We're raising for the Fondation Patrice Bernier, but we're trying to, the foundation now uses the money to help kids, either bursaries, little check here and there to get a boost, or have events with them to keep them in sports, or bring them to activities or events that maybe they don't necessarily live in their in their surroundings. As we brought some to Saputo Stadium. It's silly, but I'm like, Saputo Stadium is something you assume everybody's gone at least once, but for some kids, it's not they don't have a chance. They don't necessarily know. So that's why we raised the money. The amount we haven't finished because there's a GoFundMe that's slowly finishing, but we are hoping that we will get around in profits for the foundation, 15 to 20,000. So out of and having been on a sabbatical for a year. I think we're happy we came back. People came in. It was a great sixth event, probably the best in terms of energy, and the people are there. But I thank you because we keep people that always say yes and are loyal and have helped the cause since day one. We don't try to change too much. And so I want to say thank you for always being there, because to spread the word and to make that reach, and at the end of the day, to be able to raise the most funds possible, it takes people that really want to be there and help the cause. So it's a lot for that moment. Yeah, it was one of those days. I must say, out of the 6 events, probably the one that I felt more as a competitor and wanted to win compared to some of the events where we won, but I was okay. Some days I had the Sandro and Asun that were in my team, so it made it easier just to sit back.
But Pat, I have to tell you though, out of all the events, out of all the 6 years, I felt the closest games were yesterday. I don't know if that's true or not, because I'd have to look at the score sheet. It just felt that way, that there was a goal or two. And it's funny because I think you guys ended up winning the final by 3, and that was maybe the one that got away the most. But all the games were decided between a goal or 2, and I thought that was really something. So good on you. and I'm obviously I look forward to it again next year, Pat. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thanks.
Get to CF Montreal. It was a big game, which was going to have Wilfred Nancy go up against his former team. It wasn't going to be the first time he was playing them, Pat, because he already played them twice last season and won both. But it was going to be the first time that Laurent Courtois was going to go against his former club. So it was Nancy versus Courtois on the weekend, and both coaches were able to get a point out of it. Pat, let's bring up the starting roster if we can, the starting 11. Because, of course, Columbus played on the Wednesday versus Monterrey in the Champions semifinal and will play again this Wednesday in the second leg, we knew a lot of starters were going to be rested for Columbus or weren't going to start because they're going to start on Wednesday. We'll get to Columbus in just a second. For Montreal, Sirois in goal, a 3-man back line. Waterman with Campbell to his right, and it's Alvarez who slotted in for Sosa, who's out with an injury. Piet and Chouanière, of course, in front of the back line with Juan at right wing back, Edwards at left wing back, and Duke in behind Lassiter and Toy. So a 3-4-1-2 once again for Laurent Courtois' side. For Wilfred Nancy, Schulte with Chaburko, Zawadzki, and Amundsen as your 3-man back line. Jones and Morris in front of the back line with Farsi at right wing back and Arfston at left wing back. Matan and Hinestroza in behind Russell Rowe. Folks, the 3-4-2-1 for Wilfred Nancy, since he was the coach of Montreal, Olivier Renard wanted him to go with a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-1-2. And when he left, he brought that to Columbus. Montreal tried to keep it going last year under Losada, and they have kept it going again this year. It's a way that Olivier Renard wants them to play, and it's a way that they're playing. So there you have it. Let's take a look at the available subs for both teams. For Montreal, Wanyama, Breza, Corbo, Yankov, Saliba, Zouir, Ibrahim, Vilsaint, and Jabang. For Columbus, some biggies here, okay? Morera is one. Ramirez is another. Cucho Hernandez is another. Diego Rossi is another. Camacho is another. Hagen, Habrun, and, of course, Yeboah. And Nagby, of course, is a big one, too. So safe to say, Pat, that there's probably 5 subs that we'll see starting the game on Wednesday for Columbus in Mexico.
Yeah. Clearly, you saw the names. Cucho is last year MVP candidate, so he's definitely on him. Darlington Nagby is probably the piece that makes everything tick in that team, so he's in the middle in the mix. Diego Rossi goes up top. Then you never know if he's going to play Ramirez or Jason Russell Rowe, but Jason Russell Rowe has been a regular starter. So clearly you see Yeboah on the left also most often starts, and Camacho is the main piece in the back three in the middle of those back three. So it's Champions League time. Team has an opportunity to go as far as possible. People forget that next year, 2025, the Club World Cup will have 32 teams, and so there's more spots there. So everybody wants to try to reach to the final and win it, but also get a spot for next year, which FIFA will be making its first premier tournament like that, because it used to be just 6 teams from each confederation. So they rested, but it's never easy playing the team that you deem B team, because you never know. All those guys want to prove that they're starters to Wilfred Nancy, so they may be playing their best game ever, and you don't know how much they will have cohesions and synchronize and be in sync. And then you hope that your team doesn't go like, okay, we're playing the B team, we have a chance to beat them, and then you overestimate or underestimate part of the other team. So it was a good result for Montreal on the road to get 1 point.
Yeah, it was a good result. At the same time, it was a winnable game. I think they had a goal on their foot, which we're going to talk about just a second. But let's be honest, with a little bit of luck, Columbus could have easily scored 3. I mean, it was the chances they missed. It was unbelievable. Sirois was the big story, I thought, in the game. He came up absolutely huge, which we're going to talk about as well. Pat, I mean, I know we've said it before. I love the way Wilfred Nancy has his team playing. I mean, you can tell the playing philosophy, the identity that is there, the way they move the ball out of the back, the way they're able to problem solve, the way they're able to get out of tight spots and tight spaces and move the ball around, the way they have their triangles going on. It's the way they're able to put balls between the lines, the way they're able to make space, the way it's unbelievable the way they play. My God, what a job he's done with them. And, what a move he made for himself. Thank you very much. Probably went from 300,000 a year to over $1 million. So good for him. I don't think it's going to be very long, Pat, that we're going to see Wilfred Nancy in Europe. But let's get back to CF Montreal, Pat. 150th MLS game for Samuel Piette. I wanted to bring it up. Of course, it's an interesting milestone.
Yeah, it's 150 starts because
you're right.
He reached the milestone of 150 games, and I think he surpassed me. It was last year, but now 150 starts. That's one thing. That means you're on the field as the first whistle goes. You're there. So congratulations to him. He's been at the club now since it feels like it's for so long. Because I remember he came in 2017, which was my last season, and we didn't finish off well. But he's now been a mainstay and still playing. So congrats to the captain. He's probably going to keep making new milestone as he's the leader in most minutes. If you take away goalies, because not forget Evan Bush has a lot of those records of appearances and minutes played. But if you're not a goalie, Samuel Piette right now is the leader, having surpassed Nacho Piatti, myself in minutes played and games played and starts. So congrats to him reaching that milestone and still having a few more years, hopefully, for CF Montreal ahead of him, and he'll probably have that record for quite some time. Maybe Mathieu Choinière, if he's still around, will be one of those who could catch up or surpass him.
For those who are watching us right now on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, thank you very much for doing so. We want to let you know that Rocco Placentino, sporting director of CS St-Laurent, will join us probably in about 10 minutes' time, because his semi-pro club in Ligue 1 Quebec actually will play the biggest game of their lives, most likely, as they play for the Canadian Championship this Thursday night in Halifax versus the Wanderers, with the winner having a chance to play versus Toronto FC. Could you imagine if CS St-Laurent go to Halifax and win that game on Thursday? They will host Toronto FC on May 8th at the Claude Robillard Stadium. That'll be absolutely amazing. All right, let's get back to CF Montreal's game. Pat, I thought the first half was a feeling out process. Teams were studying each other. Columbus had the ball most of the time. Montreal was almost content to give them possession. I think they knew they weren't going to win the possession game. Ariel Lassiter had an opportunity outside the box. Good for him. He takes a shot. There's a stop that's made there, but it was worth the shot. The best chance for Columbus was Mo Farsi, who comes in the box and he tries to take on Raheem Edwards, Raheem Edwards has the courage to slide tackle. Not a lot of players are going to do it in the box, thinking if I clip his leg, his ankle, boom, it's a penalty kick. And he gets all of the balls. That was a great defensive effort, Pat.
I think Raheem Edwards probably. I know he mentioned this wasn't my best game. He felt he played better against Orlando, but I felt he was more in tune, more lively, more on a sense of urgency. And you mentioned that tackle. He gets beat a bit by speed, but he catches up and makes, for me, at that first half, probably the greatest play of the half, because you don't know if Mo Farsi keeps going, he may potentially score or put his team in position to score. And Raheem Edwards goes for a tackle that it's great tackle, because we can't go mention but that play is solid because he misses a bit. It's a clear-cut penalty, and then it's probably a different ball game for the rest of the game against Columbus. But Raheem played a really good game, very lively on his left, but especially defensively, a bit more alert and sound. And even for the whole defense, I felt that first half, you have to give him credit. Even though it's the B team and Columbus has the ball, the plan seemed to block the middle and let them go on the side, and hopefully beat us by the side. And no shots allowed, no shots attempted. That's a great feat if you're playing Columbus Crew at home, no matter if it's the second team. You mentioned it. They still they still move that ball, no matter if it's the A or the B team. But to have 0 shots allowed and attempted, still, I give them the credit at that time in the first half, because Columbus is top 6 in terms of shots taken in a game. And they had 0. Even though you take away Cucho Hernandez, they still had certain players that are on the field. Aiden Morris is still a very good player. Jason Russell up front is still a very good player. Matan is a very good player. He played regularly last year. So first half, I think they did a good job. It was a kind of like neutralized the other one. But the second half, after 4 minutes, it was a different ball game, because in 4 minutes, it was 4 shots.
Let's take a look at some of the changes that were made in the second half.
Yeah.
If we can bring it up. Okay, here you have it. Actually, maybe even before this, if we can. All right, okay, there you have it. At halftime, there you have it. So Yankov comes in for Toy at the 55th minute, and Vilsaint comes in for Lassiter. Unfortunately, Mason Toy, and we'll keep this up here if we can, Mason Toy did not take advantage of a couple of good games that he had for CF Montreal.
Yeah, look, we talked about the first half, and probably it was a semi-chance, but I don't know if you remember when Mathieu Choinière puts the pressure on Sheberko, wins the ball, gives it to Mason Toy. We're all like, he's alone. This could be it. And if we look at it, he seems to see that the Columbus player is coming, but he just waited for the ball, and the Columbus player cut in front and nicked the ball. And we felt, man, he did not seize that opportunity. He could have probably even put his body in front of it to try to get a shot, or even maybe get fouled in the box. As a forward, he puts himself in front of that ball. That Columbus guy knocks him down. It's a penalty. And I felt, in those types of games, and especially Columbus, you're not going to get tons of chances. And if you have one half chance, you have to make something of it. And Mason Toy, he didn't seize that moment where he, having scored against Orlando, getting an opportunity there, it would have been a continuation of, this is what I bring to the table, knowing you're playing against a team that they had 68% of the ball. So you're, as a forward, you're not touching it much. And this is probably your sole chance. So like you said, he didn't seize the opportunity to convince that he's the number one guy for the time that Kokaro or Martinez are out.
All right, so at the 67 minute, the horses come in for Columbus, notably Rossi and Hernandez. Saliba comes in for Piet. We'll show some of the other substitutions that were made. All right, so Montreal, they used their other substitutions late in the game, obviously, to kill time. At the 90+6, Corbo comes in for Edwards. Ibrahim comes in for Duke. That was astute from, of course, from Laurent Courtois, because he's trying to kill time. And I probably would have made some of them earlier, but in the end, what ends well, everything ended up well. But Hinestroza off the crossbar. Russell Rowe has a chance in close, but he goes high, which was probably not the best shot selection, but a huge stop by Sirois, pardon me. 2 diving saves by Sirois right after that. But here's the best chance. Vilsaint comes in, Duke delivers probably his best pass on the season right in between two players. Till Vilsaint, who's onside, gets a step ahead of the defender. And Pat, I've seen better chances missed, but he has to score that. Vilsaint has to score that.
I thought, man, are we seeing Dallas again, where he comes back in? He's been out for a while or not in the mix, and then it was a great movement. He made the great run, opened himself up. Duke plays it on the platter. And I was like, oh, he could just win his spot maybe ahead of Mason Toy by scoring this goal. And like I mentioned, these games, when you're playing a team like Columbus, you're not going to get many of them. And what we've known CF Montreal so far on the road is they've been efficient. Not many chances, but when they do get some, it ends up in the back of the net. And great movement, but would have loved it for him to finish it, get that confidence back for himself.
Pat, he's got to score that. He's got to score that.
Definitely. It's a one. Like I said, these are moments where you're there. You're one-on-one against goal. It's not like there's a defender you have to shoot around or something like that. You're one against goal. That has to end up that either goalie makes a fantastic save to take you out of it. But it has to be
and obviously,
in those corners.
Pat, obviously he missed his shot. He's trying to go cross corner. You don't want it to go to where the goalie is actually going to dive and it's going to be within his distance. He's going to make the save. He missed his shot, but cross corner inside the post, you score. Short side, you probably score. Chipping the goal, you probably score. Blasting the ball, you probably score. It's the worst shot that could have ended up happening. Obviously, he didn't intentionally try and do that. I've seen easier goals missed, but a player like that, of that potential, who has to seize the opportunity given to him, even though he probably will seize it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a starter on the weekend. I think he has to score that. Farsi gets hurt at the 71st minute. Vilsaint has another opportunity where he's got a good movement down the right wing. He decides to put it on his left foot. Unfortunately, it's high and wide, but the intention was good on that one.
Look, that's what I got to take out of him coming into this game. He missed a shot. Yes, we know. We saw it. But the factor that when he came in, he already said, look, I'm coming in. I'm going to take my chances. And by taking that shot, you're saying, okay, I understand that as an attacking player, I have to have the mentality that it's shoot first, ask questions later. And the factor that he came in with that movement told me, oh, okay, he's not just there to, I'm going to play to the other guys and I'm going to get in the boxes. Oh, I really want to make a difference into this game. So good intentions for him, who has missed a few weeks now, and you never know how you come into the game. You may be hesitant, or you may want to play safe, but he came in. I even liked certain parts in the game where he held up the ball, kept the ball for his team, and they were able to knock it a few and get into the offensive zone. And we're lucky he almost got, I can't say got killed, but he got clobbered. That head-to-head, I am sure if it's a tackle to his feet, it's probably a red card. And he had head-butted, which should have been at least a yellow card. Luckily, he stayed in the game and he's not concussed. But his intentions when he came in showed that he's in confidence. He may have missed a goal, but he's showing you that I'm going to take my chances. So I like that from a young player who comes in. But we all know you score that goal, you're probably on the game sheet next weekend.
I think he probably will be anyway. But the game ends with Arston with a big blast and another big diving save for Sirois, who I think Pat played his best game in some time. Jonathan Sirois was amazing last year. He's had some good moments and some not so good moments this year, some high and lows, but this was his best game in a long time. That point on the weekend was a point signed Jonathan Sirois. Pat, I want to move on from CF Montreal. There weren't that many storylines on the weekend. The biggest storyline coming up this week, it's the biggest storyline to hit amateur soccer in Quebec in quite some time. Mind you, I shouldn't call it amateur soccer because it's semi-professional, so pardon me. We're talking about Ligue 1 Quebec. But I'm really happy that this team is getting this opportunity because there's so many good players on this team. There's so many players that if you're not really in soccer on a day-to-day basis, you don't know a lot about. They're going to get an amazing window of opportunity in the next week. It's kind of going to be like a showcase for them. And there's so many incredible talents, and who better to talk to us about them than the sporting director of the club itself and a guy who knows this team like the back of his hand. We're talking about CS St-Laurent's Ligue 1 Quebec team, their semi-pro team. We bring in their sporting director, Pat, your former teammate. You had a chance to see him yesterday. He still only has a left foot, but guess what? It's one left foot more than me. Rocco Placentino, how are you?
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Great.
You know what
Rocco.
I noticed yesterday is that when it was away from his left foot and it was on his right, he was using the heel of his left or the outside of his left.
I had a pedicure done on my feet, so I use only my heels, you know.
That's
Rocco,
one thing I have to
actually,
say. I don't know about left footers. They have this thing where the ball goes to the right. They cross their body to get to their left foot and bring it back either with the outside of the left. Mm-hmm. It's like the right foot is just there to run and move forward, but it seldomly exists for passing or shooting. But
let me tell you, my hips are feeling it, Pat. Let me tell you.
Actually, you know what? I really liked the way Rocco played yesterday because, all kidding aside, he looked like he was having a lot of fun out there. He looked like he was like a kid in a candy store. Rocco went from Italian to being Brazilian yesterday. It was a little bit of Yogo Bonito, I think I saw.
Yoga bonito.
Rocco, this story is amazing. Saint-Laurent has had a lot of very good teams in the past. I've never seen a team stacked like this one. I've never seen a team play like this one. You can correct me, but I'm wrong. But if the depth on this team, you could probably put together 3 teams if you wanted to. I know that if you put your second team on the field, you can probably win your share of games in Ligue 1 Quebec. Without a doubt, the most stacked, most deep team in the history of all teams at CS Saint-Laurent?
Yeah, a lot of good players. There's not one weak link on that team. You know, our goal was when we put the team together was to have a fast impact, and we did. I think that Matteo Cabanetes, the GM of the team, and along with the coaching staff, with Nick and Rampton and Jesse and all, they have like 12 staff members. It's really ran like a pro team. Honestly, like they took it to another level, and you know, you see it on the field. So they're treating these players like real pros, even though they go to school, who works. It's very, it's tough to manage their schedules. But, I was at the game on Saturday, and, at a moment you would blink your eye and say, oh shit, Saint Subide is back into this game. It was 2-1, and then we scored 5 goals in 15 minutes. Like, that's the difference, from this team to the other teams, is that I really believe that it works like a professional team.
Pat, for those who are just joining us and are not aware, there's a Canadian Championship game on Thursday night in Halifax. It's going to be a CS St-Laurent visiting the Halifax Wanderers, and the winner will go on to play Toronto FC in the next game. And Rocco, if I understand correctly, should you go there and win, you would host Toronto FC on May 8th at Robillard. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's very accurate, Tony. Depending on what happens on May 2nd, the first leg game would be on May 8th at Robillard, probably at 7 or 7:30 kickoff. It was a huge challenge for us to find the field. We knocked on so many doors, and it was very, very challenging, but Robillard came to mind, and we were lucky that they tarped the field throughout the winter. So we had a walk around with Soccer Canada 2 weeks ago, and it got accepted. It's for me, it's I get goosebumps talking about it because that's where I started my career with Montreal Impact, right? So if we could get to play that game at that stadium, it will definitely bring myself old memories, but I'm pretty sure we could also sell it out.
Rocco, with all due respect to your opponent, they're obviously to be taken seriously. They play in the Canadian Premier League. They're full-time professional players. They train like pros. They train often. They have all the facilities. They have everything that they need. An upset would not be a shocker here. I mean, you have the team to go there and win. I know you're not going to give any bulletin board material here to the other team, but you have some quick strike offense. You have some players on this team that can score goals with ease.
I watched Halifax's first 3 games, and they do tend to struggle defensively, and our forte is our offense. I think that individually and as a team, they work well together. They move that ball very fast. But Tony, you said it best, right? We're playing against a pro team. These guys train every single day. So I really feel that the game is going to be won in the first 20, 30 minutes. If we could try and get an early goal, it's going to set the tone for how the game should go. But if we go to distance, it's going to be challenging because after 40, 50, 60 minutes, that's when, the everyday training kicks in and they'll definitely have an edge on us. Even though I think our preparation has been as professional it could be, playing games against CPL teams. We took the team to a preseason camp 2 weeks ago for a whole week. So, the team really tried their best in putting the players in a position to get ready for this game. I think we're at the maximum of what we could have done. So now it's time for these players to shine. It really is.
Pat?
Rocco, I wanted to ask, since most people here probably don't know all the players, the ones who are not following League One, is there one or two, three players that you can mention? I know it's a good team. All the players are good. But one or two, three players that maybe people can pay attention to when they're going to watch this game against Halifax. Players that, we know in the League One, they're probably dominant, or new players that have joined the team that seem to have gelled and maybe will be talked about during the game, or who knows, after the game also, definitely.
Yeah. Like you said, Pat, there's a lot of very good, talented players on this team. But if I have to just a few where it'd be like Wick Kwame. Wick Kwame is the type of player that he shows up to play. It's very hard to contain him for sure. Then we have Yan Twali. Yan is a homegrown player, very talented. Wesley is our team captain. So that's like, I just named you our offensive line where it's, then there's guys like Rickson, very speedy. So, and then we have Safwan. Like there's a lot of talent, honestly. But if I have to name those 2-3 players that I think that could make the difference, I think we have a player that no one really knows of him in terms of, because he's new to our semi-pro league, is Mamadou Kane.
Okay.
For the hat trick, and he literally scored 3 goals in 5 minutes on Saturday. And we got him on.
Well, this is Mamadou Kane, eh?
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Mamadou Kane was at the academy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he was at the academy, then he bounced around CPL teams. Then he was in Vancouver CPL. And basically they were looking for a team to loan him out to on the semi-pro level. And they thought about us because he literally comes from Salaberry, which is close to us.
Yeah.
And we brought him in with Vancouver. He was a wingback / winger. And with us, we put him as a target, as a striker, and he's been scoring nonstop. So
yeah, well, he usually played there when he was before being pro.
Patrice, I've said in the past that watching amateur soccer, the 3 players that I thought in terms of dominance that stood out in the last 10 or 15 years, without counting what's happening at semi-pro, I'm talking about the amateur level, were Balou, were Ishmael Kone, and were Jose Anthony Vilsaint. And I neglected to mention Mamadou Kane, but I should have put him in there because, Mamadou Kane, when he played at Salaberry, I watched this kid sometimes play 3 games in one day. And he played with his age group. He played 1 year above, and he played 2 years above. And when he used to play 3 games in one day, he used to score in all 3 games. And Rocco's laughing because he knows it's true.
Yeah, big time.
Like he used to play 2 and 3 games per day with Salaberry in different age groups, and he used to score in every single one. The guy is a goal-scoring machine. He's like a real bull. It's unbelievable. But I'm happy that Rocco brought up Loic Quimi because obviously Rocco's seen him play a ton of times. I've seen him play quite a bit. Guys, for those who are not following, Loic Quimi is the greatest player in Canada, the best talent to not play pro. I mean, he's unbelievable. And Pat, I say this with all due respect to CF Montreal. I'll put my hand in the fire, but it's 2 years, over 2-3 years that I believe that Loic Quimi can play with CF Montreal. Now he's what? He's 27 years old, Rocco, or he's 27. His age scares a lot of people off, and he's never been in this is the most professional environment he's been in, so he still has some things to learn in that respect. But he's an amazing futsal player. that's translated his game to being an amazing 11v11 player, which not everyone can do. It's worked out for Mo Farsi. He's done the transition really well. 2 weeks ago, he was playing a game for Canada. The game started at 9 o'clock at night. That's 2 o'clock in the morning in Portugal. My son stayed up from 2 to 4 to watch the game. That's how much of an impact this guy has on younger players that used to play within the club. He is the Messi of the club and the Ronaldo of the league. That's what he is. Rocco?
He's Louis Kwame is for me. I've been saying it for years, and I feel like smashing my head on the wall because I can't believe that he doesn't have the opportunity to play pro. But if we talk about the professional environment, it is tough, right? To be a pro is not easy. Pat, we went through it, and it's a lot of discipline, a lot of sacrifices. I'm not saying he's not willing to do it, but a lot of the feedback is, to be a pro player, you got to train like a pro every single day, right? And maybe because he hasn't been part of that, and now maybe with us a bit more, people don't trust that part of him, right? But if he hasn't had the chance to, it's hard to really judge, right? But if we talk about on field, there's no one like him. Like honestly, I love watching him. My son, like when we watch semi-pro, it's about Loic Kwame and Yan Toile. Loic Kwame and Yan Toile. These guys are phenomenal soccer players. They really are.
Yeah, but that's Rocco's right though. There's not a weak link on the team. It's the most deep team they've had in a long time. Rocco, the players must be like so over the moon, so excited. They obviously know the opportunity that awaits them. You talked about the training camp you had a couple of weeks ago. What else have you done in terms of preparation? I would imagine you went through a ton of video, and you're playing a team, by the way, who's struggling right now. You're probably catching them at the right time.
Yeah. So in terms of preparation, like I said at the beginning, our staff literally work like professional coaches. Video, stats, whatever it is. They played against CPL teams throughout the winter. They played against York. They played against Forge. They played against Atletico. Like, I think we're the first team to ever take it this serious in a group stage. And we're very fortunate to have very good partners, Sammy Fruits and Krevi, that they're partners with the club. Guys, whatever you need in terms of financial aid, let's get the team ready. And the staff did a fantastic job on preparing the game. And I was at the semi-pro game on Saturday, and the way they act, we have 2-3 staff members in the press box feeding. It's like the pros. So these players are very fortunate to have this staff, and our club are fortunate to have these players and that staff.
Pat, do you have another minute? I know you have a radio hit going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's just, can you tell us, like, when do you guys started preparation? Because I know it's not easy for a League One team. Usually it's around March with all the conditions, and you said it because people don't understand that in May, most cities don't open their fields. That's why it wasn't easy. Where do I play? But when did you guys start preparing? Because this is a big moment, and you want these guys, from what I understand, you're trying to get these guys the best preparation possible to be able to and to go there and create a surprise and play to the best of their capabilities.
Pat, they've been preparing since November, to be honest. They took we finished October, we gave them a couple weeks off, and then it was back to their grind, and then it got progressively better, right? In terms of January, February, March, more training, more video, more games. Like they played, I think, before our semi-pro season started, we had maybe 8-9 exhibition games under our belt. So, like I said, I think the team prepared the best they could have prepared to for this game, and we see it on the field. Like I saw their first home game last week, and there were still a couple of we didn't play our full lineup, but when these players link up on the field, they there by memory, and you could see it. It's a pleasure to watch. And when you can score 5 goals in 15 minutes, no matter who you're playing against, it means something, right?
My God. In League One Quebec, you're not playing versus the River Hawks of Pacolet de Villassal. Yeah. That's unbelievable. Rocco, when is the team leaving for Halifax? and who from the club will be going on this trip?
So we are leaving on Wednesday morning, day before the game. The team's going to get a training session in Wednesday afternoon. On the club, the whole staff, of course, of the first team. We have 18 players going. We have myself with GM, and we have 3 board members coming on the trip to support the team. I think friends and family, there's over 150 people going. We are also showing the game at our St-Laurent complex. We rented the turf. We rented a projector. We invited all our teams, all our kids to come and watch. There should be at least between 600 and 800 people on the field watching the game live. So for us, it's a huge deal. Huge deal.
Oh, it's a great moment.
Amazing. So
Definitely.
Who's invited? Who's invited on Thursday night? Do you have to be part of the club to go to the complex to be able to watch the game?
No,
We lost Rocco. We got him back. Rocco, we don't hear you. We don't hear you.
Oh, can't hear you, Rocco.
We don't hear you. Rocco, we don't hear you. Okay, Pat, you got to go for your radio hit?
Yeah, I got to go.
We'll say goodbye to you, and in the meantime, we'll see if we can get Rocco back, okay?
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks again, Tony.
Beaucoup, Pat. All right,
all
thank
the
you.
best.
All right, there you have it.
And St-Laurent, it's a great moment. Enjoy it, and who knows, make history. All right.
Yeah, the beauty of live podcast. These things happen as we try and get Rocco's sound back. Rocco, do you hear me? Rocco does not hear me. Do we want to bring him in the green room if we can? Try and help him out? Okay, let's try and bring him in the green room and help him out. Okay. We'll see if we can fix it. And if we can't fix it, then at that point, what is there more to say? It's CF St-Laurent versus the Halifax Wanderers. It's the Canadian Championship. The game goes on Thursday night in Halifax. I think we got Rocco back. Do we got Rocco back?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, no problem at all. Rocco, I was saying, so you don't have to be a member of Saint-Laurent Soccer to go to the complex.
First come, first serve.
On Marcel Lorrain on Thursday night to watch the game.
6 p.m. kickoff, exactly.
On a huge projector.
Huge projector. It'll be in the middle of the field, and the kids are going to be able to sit on the turf, and parents are going to be able to sit in the stands.
Rocco, you did good to bring up some of your sponsors before, and I know that CF St-Laurent has many of them. And notably, you mentioned Sammy Fruits and Crevier. And Sammy Fruits, Taleb is a great guy, and he absolutely loves soccer, and he's got a big heart. So you put all 3 together, and you're going to get a lot of support there. But Saint-Laurent has become a destination club. I don't know how many years it's been now. So let me just say, is it safe to say that they've been a destination club now for a good 10 years?
Yeah, it's going to be my 12th year. It's say 10 years, yeah. 10 years.
Yeah, it's funny because at one point, with all due respect to Lakeshore, but you remember like all the talented boys used to go to Lakeshore?
NMRO.
Right? NMRO. And then about a decade ago, there was a switch and everyone started going to Saint-Laurent. And I think it's a lot of things, right? Some good players go, and a lot of players like to follow the good players because they think I have a chance of being part of a really good team. A lot of coaches go there because they want to coach the best players. The sponsorship is there, which gives quite a bit of opportunities. Like you've had a lot of clubs that have gone to a lot of tournaments, a lot of academies versus the MLS, and you've had really good Dallas Cup. Didn't one of your teams just come back from the Dallas Cup? It's a U17 team, I think.
Yeah, we were at Dallas Cup, which was made up of all academies around North America. We were maybe one of the only amateur clubs there, and we lost in penalty shots in the semifinals, where we could have maybe went to the finals against Tigre of Mexico. But great experience for the kids.
Rocco, you're very optimistic, as you should be. At the same time, with all the respect in the world for the Halifax Wanderers, you said you watched their team a ton on tape. I don't doubt it. At the same time, do you have any concerns whatsoever? I mean, besides the fact that they're a pro team and they train like pros and they train often, is there a thing? And I know you said you think you have everything covered and you think your staff has everything covered. I mean, is there any chance that the moment will get to your team? And I know we won't know until we actually find out, but is there any chance that the moment will get to them in a negative way?
So, yes. So, of course, they're gonna have the butterflies in their stomachs. But I must say, and I won't name any of their names, but some of these guys literally grew up in the alleys, man, and I don't see them having that worry. They've been through so
They're
much in
gonna
their
fight. They're
lives.
gonna fight. They're gonna fight.
They've been through so much in their lives that these are moments they're waiting for.
You talked about your extended staff, a 12-man staff. I know you guys are doing video analysis now. It just goes to show that you really are operating like an academy. Is it Laurent that's doing video analysis, by the way?
So, Tony, I just want to thank you for introducing me to Laurent. Laurent Klein is a very bright boy. He has a really, really good soccer IQ. And he's been a huge addition to our St-Laurent family with helping out our semi-pro team, our reserve team, and our U15 boys. Great kid, and we're grateful for him, and along with the other guys that we
He's going to go
brought
far
along.
in the sport, Rocco. He's going to go far in the sport.
I believe, and I believe that he will, and he's very, very young. But I also believe that whoever's on our first team staff is going to be one day ready to play to coach pro, like Nick Rosaggi, Jesse Axelson, that's already with the CF Montreal girls, Rampton, the young guys from LaSalle. We have Alessandro and Antonio. These guys are fantastic. There's our prep guy Yendri. He's, you know what? I'm missing a couple of them, but they're like, Mateo Cabanetas put something together, and I want to say something, Tony. Mateo's a volunteer. These guys are all paid. They all get a certain amount of money, not much, but they get money. Mateo orchestrated this thing alone, with my support, of course. But Mateo is one guy I really, really have to give a shout out to, because he's been doing this as a volunteer, and let me tell you, man, he's a very good GM. Very good.
Yeah. Rocco, do you have anyone helping out with mental performance on the staff at all?
I don't know. That's a question that they would have to answer. I don't know all those details, but it's a good question. I don't even know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Anything you want to say to the soccer fans that are watching right now? Of course, it's your club, CS St-Laurent, Ligue 1 Quebec. Loic Quemi has been one of the best players in the league for the last couple of years now. You mentioned the name before. It's funny, okay? Your team is so stacked that when Patrice asked you players, I think Safwan's the fifth player you brought up. Yeah. He scored 2 goals on the weekend, of which you showed me his goals on your phone yesterday inside the locker room. Like 2 bullets, like 2 really lasers in the top of the net. This guy, too, plays on Canada's futsal team. I think you got 3 members of the Saint-Laurent team on that team, if memory serves me. What could be? Oh, 6. You have 6. Okay, so you have Loic, you have Safwan, you have Obeng, and who else?
There's Aylan, and there's who am I missing? Oben. We're 6. There's 6 in total. I'm missing.
Wow, 6 players.
Yeah, 6 players, and you know what? It's 2 different sports, right? But they play futsal and 11v11 soccer very well. So,
but you play futsal, you're going to end up having great feet for 11v11 soccer. Like
all these players are technical. They're fantastic feet, all of them. It's crazy.
We look forward to watching the game, Rocco, and we could just could you imagine hosting Insigne Bernardeschi and Toronto FC on May 8th at Robillard?
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling just to think of it. It's very exciting. It's very exciting.
You know what, Tony? And I always say this: the ball is round for both teams. And Saint-Laurent is, and you know this, Tony. You lived it as well. Saint-Laurent is always, we're able to create some sort of magic, and I think that the 2nd of May is going to be very challenging. But I'm very optimistic that if the boys show up to play, they're going to be able to fight and try and get that win for sure.
Rocco, last question, because it comes to mind. Halifax is one of 2 teams, if memory serves me well, that plays on grass in the CPL.
Yes.
All your games in Ligue 1 Quebec are on turf. All the players that have been playing in Ligue 1 Quebec have been playing on turf for years and years and years. Some of them probably haven't played on grass since a U13 game or whatever it is. What did you do to prepare for playing on grass?
So, well, that's one of our biggest challenges. Montreal and Quebec, we don't get to use grass until the month of May. So we haven't prepared on grass because that wasn't available to us. The boys are aware of legs being a bit more heavy, making sure you have the right studs on, the skid of the ball. So we prepared them in a different way. But
Go to the ball instead of waiting for it.
Yeah. There's
if the grass is not wet, you're going to have to go to the ball and get there a lot slower.
It's going to be wet because it's a bit humid in Halifax. They're going to water it, and it's raining a bit that day too. So at the end of the day, Tony, it's going to be a fight till the last second. And at the end of the day, it's like I said, if these guys show up to play grass, turf, whatever it is, a guy like Loïc Kwame, he could invent something, whether it's grass or turf. So we just got to wait and see what's going to happen.
Rocco, thank you very much. All the best of luck to all the players, staff, coaches, families, parents, fans, everyone, yourself, of course, included at CF St-Laurent. Good luck. We'll all be watching on Thursday night. I have to tell you, I was thinking of staying home and putting up my feet on the sofa, but the fact there's going to be 1,000 people at the complex, I'm interested.
It's going to be cool for sure.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much for your time, Tony. Thank you.
You're very welcome. There you have it.
Bye-bye.
Rocco Placentino, sporting director of CF St-Laurent. The Ligue 1 Quebec team is playing the game of their lives Thursday night for the Canadian Championship versus the Halifax Wanderers in Halifax, with once again the opportunity to host Toronto FC the following week at Claude Robillard should CS St-Laurent win the game. Thanks for watching the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk. Subscribe to our Twitter channel or our Twitter account at SickPod CFMTL. Also on Instagram at SickPod CFMTL. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. For Shane Gaumont, I'm Master Control, Patrice Bernier, and Rocco Placentino. Thank you all for watching. I'm Tony Marinaro. It has been the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk. Have a good day.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.